Good morning. It's Thursday. It's early. Had a hell of a long day yesterday. I didn't get home till about 10-ish last night. So I apologize about not producing a whole bunch of videos, but only so much you can do when there's no time to do it. I did produce one video that you probably didn't get a chance to see last night, in which I came dangerously close to calling Mr. Freeman an outright liar. And I pulled that one down because, well, I didn't say expressly that he was a liar. I want to make sure that all my ducks are in a row before I even come close to that. So thought it was interesting. On my way home, last night I listened to 2 live streams from Mr. Freeman. I guess it would technically be one live stream, but he had connection issues in the middle of it. He mentioned me twice, and I wasn't in that live stream. I wasn't commenting in it. I wasn't active in it. I think I'm finally striking home with Mr. Freeman. I think he's finally, it feels like he's on the defensive from me, and, well, it isn't my intention. It's just odd that he needs to get out in front of it. He needs to get out in front of me doing the obvious rebuttal. So he needs to discredit me ahead of time. That's fine. I've been called worse things by better people. So, yeah, I'm just going to go outright and completely reject his claim that Bao is 10 steps ahead. Bao is never 10 steps ahead. I'm going to reject his claim that Bao knew what he was doing in that court. Bao does not know what he's doing in that court. Once again, the court is under no obligation to answer Bao's clarifying questions. I'm going to go ahead and reject his claim that there's nothing his lawyer can do for him. Referring to Bao. There's a lot of things a lawyer can do for you. If you're Bao, you probably don't want to be speaking to a judge who has your fate in his hands, because you're going to do things like ask clarifying questions. I don't know if the judge that he was in front of is going to be the judge who is actually doing his trial, or if this was a separate issue just on the contempt charge, or how it's going to work. But if this is the same judge who's going to be the judge at the hearing for Bao's harassment charge, then pissing off this judge isn't going to be a very good idea, because this is the judge who's going to be doing the sentencing. And if I remember correctly, I think Bao's sentence has a maximum penalty of 2 years in prison and a maximum fine. But remember, those are the maximums, and if the judge likes you, if the judge thinks you're not the kind of guy who needs 2 years in prison, he'll be much more likely to give you a more lenient sentence than the maximum. If the judge thinks you're an asshat who wanders around in public with a $2 text-to-speech app running and a speaker that's blaring piggy piggy oink oink piggy piggy at full volume, etc., then I could almost guarantee you that you're not going to get the minimum sentence. And that's what a lawyer would be able to help you with. one of the many things a lawyer would be able to help you with. It's standard procedure for courts to exclude children, anybody they think may be disruptive. It is standard procedure for courts to exclude men in shorts. Strangely enough, I've seen women in shorts get away with it. Like, a man in a tank top is very likely to get excluded from a hearing, but a woman in, I guess it's actually like office attire. A woman's tank top is somehow classy and dressy. A man's tank top is universally uncouth. Speaking of uncouth, I got a shirt in the mail to wear on my next audit. Haven't quite figured out. I think I know who sent it, but I haven't confirmed it yet. But it is a lovely shade of doo-doo brown, and the picture on the front is very unflattering, but I guess I'll wear it in an audit. I do reserve the right, by the way, to not wear a shirt if it's if I don't feel like it, essentially. Good Lord. Mr. Brown. God, what is his name? I forget his name right now. There was a comment made that the judge is trying to stifle Mr. Padilla's right to engage in free speech activities. And I rejected his framing of it that way. The judge isn't trying to stop Mr. Padilla's First Amendment protected activities. He's trying to stop Mr. Padilla's unprotected activities. Everybody, it comes down to the whole thing, like let's say calling someone on the phone. Obviously you can do that. That's completely legal, right? There's no way that can be illegal. I mean, what, are you saying I can't call anybody anymore? But if you call someone over and over and over again to the point where other people can't call them, and like every time they answer you hang up and just dial again just to try to keep their phone ringing as much as possible, you're just being an asshat. And they've made laws against that in some states, Texas being one of them. And before everybody gets all butthurt and bent, I said, "Boy, you're saying I can't call people if I live in Texas?" No, the statute is very clear. It requires the state to prove intent, to prove the intent that you're doing it to be an asshat. So if you're just calling someone over and over and over again, trying to get them to answer, then maybe not, because the state has to prove your intent. But if you're calling them over and over and over and over again just to be an asshat, well, there you go. I'm also looking into a Georgia statute, disturbing the peace statute. I've never really looked at I don't think California has anything really. California doesn't have any fighting words kind of statutes. So this is my first real experience with a fighting words statute. And the Supreme Court hasn't said that fighting word statutes have flown. Anytime it's gone in front of the Supreme Court's been like, nah. They've done it once. They've allowed it once. And that was in the case where somebody called a guy a dirty commie or something like that. And that was fighting words. You can't call me a commie. That's caused to instantly get in a fight. A reasonable man would instantly start throwing punches if you got called a communist. So ever since then, the Supreme Court has never okayed a fighting words kind of clause in a disturbing the peace statute. So this is interesting. I'm looking at this disturbing the peace statute, and all the case law I can find on it says it's still good. Gooding v. Wilson, I think that was a Georgia statute, or I'm sorry, a Georgia case. I'm reminded of it right now, and I think I saw it when I was looking at the cases. But I think that actually invalidated one of the prior Georgia fighting word statutes. You pooping? No? Okay, come on. And then Mr. Plotner came back into my comments today. Don't know exactly how to feel about him thinking I'm a fascinating man. Humans are social creatures. I'm detecting a bit of sarcasm in there, a bit of passive aggressiveness. I could be wrong. It's hard to accurately portray context, really, or meaning. You don't get the nuance and the tonality and things like that in a text comment. Mr. Plotner thinks that it would be really interesting if I did a video on filming in public places. He also thinks that I should do a video on filming in post offices in general. And that's I think about a week ago, I did a video on the post office. What was that? 29 CFR 232.1, 39 CFR 232.1. One of those two. But for Mr. Plotner's enlightenment off the top of my head, it's not about public place. Adderley v. Florida. Obviously, class, what did we learn from Adderley v. Florida? We learned that the state may reserve the use of its facilities to their intended purpose. Adderley v. Florida is where we started getting the non-traditional or non-public forum. Non-public forum. Adderley v. Florida was about jail, but then we had Coquinda at some point down the road, which extended the, not extended the, but it applied the analysis that was laid down in Adderley to post offices and found that post offices were non-public forums. Obviously, on the sidewalk that borders the street, the post office can't restrict your First Amendment activity. That was US v. Grace. But the internal grounds, the sidewalks leading up to the front door of the post office, on their property, or leading from the parking lot of the post office to the front door, they are also non-public forums. So the post office can and does restrict lots of First Amendment protected free speech activities on those portions and inside their building. Now, the 232.1 subsection I talks about the filming. They say it's allowable for news purposes only unless security personnel or a sign or something else restricts it. I believe it also is just for public meetings, but ultimately at the end of the day, they don't allow it and they require you to call ahead. Will that pass constitutional muster? I haven't seen any case that's tried it yet, but judging from the analysis, non-public forums, their analysis is it has to be a legitimate government interest and the rule has to be reasonably related to that legitimate government interest. That's it. The rule of thumb on that rational basis, it's a rational basis of review, so it has to be a legitimate interest and the rule has to be reasonable and it has to be rationally related to the legitimate interest. No, wait, hold on. Oh, this is my early morning brain. All right. I think I'm getting that wrong. I think I'm mixing that up with just general rational basis review. I believe, okay, yes, that is correct. That's correct. I'm getting it mixed up with normal rational basis review. Non-public forum analysis, the rule has to be reasonable and it has to be content neutral. That's what the rule is. Reasonable, content neutral. And by content neutral, that includes viewpoint neutral. If you can't regulate the content, you also can't regulate the viewpoint. Oh, I'm glad we got there. All right, so can you film in a post office? And the answer to that is almost certainly not. Because again, it just has to be, the rule just has to be reasonable and it has to be content neutral. And they don't care what you film. They're not necessarily saying you can't, they're just saying you can't film. So it probably will pass constitutional muster if it ever gets to challenged in court. And I think the maximum fine on it is like 60 days in jail and $5,000 fine or something like that for filming. And that would be something that like a federal officer would probably have to arrest you on. Or maybe if you get arrested by a local police officer for trespass, then the U.S. might step in and take over the prosecution and throw on theirs instead. But typically, like a trespassing statute, a state trespassing statute will have a higher potential fine. The post office is very prone to calling local PD, so California has it's very hard to trespass someone from a business or building that's open to the public. It's next to impossible to do. Almost impossible. Very hard to do. You have to be interfering with the business. Basically, it comes down, you have to be interfering with the business in order to be trespassed, or the business has to be closed, or if you are convicted of committing a crime at that business, then it's easier to trespass you. But the trespass laws vary between states. It's a lot easier in Texas to trespass someone. So to your question of can you film in the post office, the answer is probably not. But as you have probably noticed in California, local police don't know about the federal rules, and it's almost impossible to trespass someone, especially since California auditors seem to have universally taken the approach of going in, making a stink, and then going out to the sidewalk to await the arrival of the police. Police could issue you a trespass citation or trespass warning at that point, theoretically, but reality is, practical advice is that they probably won't. I guess that's about it. Hope everybody has a great day. Hope I get some time to actually not be busy today. Maybe I could work on that fighting words Georgia statute. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good day.